husband, 28 male, is living with a female friend, and she, 22 female, has become hostile towards me, 23 female. My husband and I have been married for 3 years, and our marriage is on the rocks. It all mainly started after the birth of our first child together, in which he became increasingly irritable, aggressive, and sexually distant from me. Once he started to get physically abusive by grabbing and pushing me, we decided to live at different residences in a desperate attempt to salvage our marriage. That was 3 months ago. I'm currently living with my mom and I work part time while also taking care of our 18-month-old son. My husband purchased a new condo with the financial help of his dad and lives with a female friend of his, 22 female, who he apparently charges rent. I was uncomfortable about his living arrangement with this woman from the moment I found out about it, mainly because we agreed that we are not taking a break in the sense of seeing others and we are still married and not going through a separation, but just trying to give each other, mainly him, space. I find it very weird that he has a 22-year-old. She has become very hostile towards me, which is strange because she's supposed to only be his friend and basically a tenant of his. For example, I went to visit him with our son, and the whole time she was sitting near him and staring at me with hatred. When I asked if he and I could talk privately, she said, "No, this is our place." And of course, this made everything awkward, so I just left shortly after that. I don't know why she would act so hostile towards me if she was just a friend and a tenant of his. My husband didn't seem bothered by her rudeness towards me either, and at one point I thought I saw him smirk. I don't know if I should be concerned that he and her have become more than friends, especially since my husband told me through text that him and I are still exclusive to each other. What is the best way to continue with this awkward situation? Am I wrong for telling my son's wife that his ex is in the family and has been here longer than she has? My son was dating Sabrina. They started in high school and broke up when they were in college. It was a long relationship and I became really close to her. She is, in my eyes, our daughter. Her family are awful people and she sees us as her parental figures. She even is planning to have my husband walk her down the aisle when she gets married. Now, when they broke up, just their relationship died. We didn't drop her since she is our kid at this point. My son wasn't happy but moved on, so she gets invited to family events and has for years. My son, now 27, is married to Bethany and she is a nice person. We never clicked. We don't have much in common and they live 2 hours away, so it's hard to plan stuff to get to know her more. Really, I'm sure it will grow in time. Now we had a picnic and all the family members were invited. So Sabrina was there as normal and I thought the night was nice. Bethany came up to me at the end of the night and expressed that she is uncomfortable with her husband's ex being everywhere and if I couldn't invite her for family stuff. I told her no and that Sabrina is part of the family and has been part of the family longer than she has. If there is an actual valid reason like her being rude, then I would consider it, but she has done nothing. She left and then my son called me and said I'm an asshole for picking her over my now real family. So, am I the asshole? My husband thinks she is crazy, but I know we can be biased. Small edit. I will make this clear. She may not be my kid by blood, but everything else she is my daughter and has been for 10 years. Also, Sabrina is engaged, so no, she doesn't want to get back with my son, and I don't want them to either. Yes, I have invited Bethany to do stuff with me. It's always been a no. I won't disown Sabrina by disinviting her to family events. I will be saying I don't see her as family if I disinvite her to family events she has gone to for about 10 years. This is asking me to choose between two children. I will not disown.
Am I in the wrong for leaving her because she made me wait for sex? I'm 26 male and she's 26 female. I've been seeing a woman for 3.5 months and things were going great except for the lack of sex. Now, I don't mind this because she said that she really likes being with me and is interested in building something long term and wishes to take it slow. But then last Friday we were making dinner at my place and having drinks and the awkward topic of our past came up. I didn't bring it up. She did, asking about exes and whatnot. Then she admitted that she hadn't dated for a while. So out of curiosity, I asked how she was getting her needs met and she mentioned having friends with benefits from time to time. Okay, fine, it's not serious. But then she continued and is like, I can see it's bugging you before spilling her guts basically. I didn't press her. She spilled. Again, she spilled. And I just stood there awkwardly cooking and having my drink. She starts telling me how she knows it probably bothers me that we've not had sex yet, but she really likes me and it's been years since she was in a relationship or even felt such a connection with someone. And she's been worried that I'll think that she's a SLUT or something if we slept together too quickly. Then from there, she goes on to talk about how she had lots of sex between her last relationship and now, which is a period of nearly 5 years. And every time she did hook up with someone new, it made her feel like she was losing a piece of the woman that she was, who just loved romance and wanted to be with one guy, but she was young and figured that she would explore now rather than dealing with such feelings later when she found a great guy. So I asked her if they were all friends with benefits and she said no, that she had a number of one-night stands from when she would go clubbing and partying, hookups from dating apps, plus all the dudes that she slept with more than once who she also met under those circumstances, plus on social media. And she said that she slept with all of them very quickly, often on the same day or night or within a couple days max. At this point, I was feeling extremely jealous, I won't lie, because I do like her very much and we've been having a good time without having sex. But knowing that she slept with so many guys very quickly but held off because we're serious annoyed me. I haven't had as many partners as she's had, but I've slept with past girlfriends and friends with benefits, and outside of my first girlfriend from high school, didn't wait with any of them more than a couple weeks. I guess it instantly bothered me that she was willing to sleep with all these dudes, but when it's serious, she wants to wait. But it's still her choice, I guess. Out of annoyed curiosity, I asked if she slept with anyone prior to us meeting and talking, which was a month before we got together. She said yes, that she dated one dude briefly for a month and they slept together the whole time earlier this year, but it wasn't serious. Then she admitted to having sex with another guy a couple times just before we got together. So during the period we were speaking but not dating. At this point, the tension is ridiculously high and she's apologizing and telling me how she's so sorry and knows that I'm mad because she can see. I tell her to drop it because it's not going to do us any good to continue the conversation. We have an awkward dinner, then later that night she asked if I'd like to have sex. A day earlier, it would have been an enthusiastic yes. That night, I felt like she was just guilty and trying to make me feel better. I turned her down and ended up sleeping in the spare room of my place. When she left the next day, I spent all day feeling sick. It bothered me a lot. My mind was filled with all sorts of shit. That evening, I sent her a message telling her I didn't think it'll work out, and I explained that I just don't see anything for us down the road. I said her choices were her own and that's on her, but I felt like I was being held to some unfair higher standard. It hurt. I liked her, but I knew it would constantly be on my mind how she slept around and did so pretty quickly while I waited because things were serious. I spoke to both guy and girl friends. My guy friends pretty much agreed with me breaking it off, while my girlfriends disagreed and almost across the border had a stance of, guys don't really get it, it's different when you genuinely have feelings for someone versus something casual. It's been a week since. I still feel sad. I have blocked her everywhere we talked. I do miss her, but last Friday night still has me feeling messed up. So am I in the wrong for leaving her because of this? Am I in the wrong for going through my friend's closet to find my wedding dress? 2 years ago, my husband and I were doing some renovations to our house. I didn't want my wedding dress to get damaged or lost in the process, which, considering we did lose a few things during the renovation, I was right to be concerned. My friend offered to keep it in her closet until the renovations were done. After we finished, I asked my friend for the dress back. She kept saying that she'd get it back to me. I kept asking and she kept making excuses. I found it weird. Now, my sister is getting married and she wanted to wear the dress. This was our mother's dress and we always agreed that we'd wear it. I told my friend that I need it back. She claimed that she couldn't find it. I was perplexed because how does it just get up and walk away? She apologized and offered to pay me the cost of the dress, which I turned down because it wasn't about money. The dress was sentimental and I felt terrible that my sister couldn't wear it. My friend and her husband went away. I was there to water their plants and feed their dogs. That's when I decided to go look myself. The closet was very clustered. I eventually found the dress. I can totally believe that she missed where it was and she wasn't being malicious in the slightest. The box was tucked behind a few larger ones containing seasonal clothes. I texted her saying, I found the dress. Instead of being happy for me, she asked why I rummaged through her closet. I said I just wanted to double check. She told me that I had no right to go through her things. I said that because of her clutter, my sister almost didn't get to wear the dress that she always dreamed of. My friend told me that I could have asked her to look again, but I pointed out it took her 2 years to even look in the first place. So, am I in the wrong?
Storytime about how my sister kicked me out of her baby shower. Don't get me wrong, I love my sister, but her husband and her are extremely stingy. When she told the family that she was pregnant, we were all incredibly happy for her. I was so happy that I decided to help her plan the baby shower. And then her best friend jumped on board, so we were both helping out with the baby shower. I asked my sister to make me a Pinterest board so that I could know exactly what colors she wanted and what the theme should be. I even went ahead and hired caterers, an entire wait staff, and my sister's best friend was in charge of all the decorations, which this girl put her own money into. This baby shower was the most curated, beautiful baby shower you could ever imagine in your entire life. We even had a 7-foot table filled with charcuterie board stuff. Charcuterie boards are really expensive. When we started the planning, my sister's husband decided to foot the bill. But me being the best sister that I am, and her best friend being a very good friend, we also decided to pitch in. But then the shit hit the fan. A week before the baby shower, her husband started asking us about how much everything cost. We even made a spreadsheet about all the costs and receipts. That's when he decided that he didn't want to pay for any of it. He said that we chose the most expensive things, and that because they didn't plan it, they shouldn't have to pay for it. Mind you, he said this to us after we had spent 8 hours decorating the entire backyard. I looked at my sister to see her reaction, and she had none. Instead of defending us, my sister did not say a word. I went up straight to her and I said, "Are you kidding me? Are you guys actually joking right now?" To which she said, "Nobody asked you to plan this." I broke down into tears because I had taken days off of work to try to plan the whole thing. Part 2 is up. Storytime about how my sister kicked me out of her baby shower. Part 2. I couldn't believe my sister was telling me that I had to pay for the baby shower because I planned it. I'm her sister. Of course I would help her plan the baby shower. She probably would have found an excuse to get mad at me for not helping if I didn't. Anyway, remember her best friend who was helping me out? We both decided to be petty. I mean, we had already hired the caterers, the tables, chairs, so we went ahead and started canceling everything. Mind you, it's the day of the baby shower. So I called up all the companies and tried to cancel, but they said it was too late. So my sister's bestie and I decided to show up to the baby shower like nothing happened. But here's what we did instead. We told them that as soon as they show up to the party to ask for payment. So the caterer shows up and asks for the money. That's when my sister's husband looks at me and tells me to fuck off. And he proceeded to kick me out and my sister's best friend. That's when the florist shows up and asks for payment too. It was all happening at the same time because we asked everyone to deliver everything at the same time. Essentially, he was ripping out his hair and going crazy, and I just watched. Then he went around to our family table and told my parents that I didn't pay for anything. Obviously, I had already told my parents about this. That's when my dad tells him that it's his responsibility to pay for it. Then my sister and him double down and kick us out again. My parents were so upset. I don't speak to my sister anymore and she's already had the baby. My mom thinks I should be the one to extend the olive branch and just forgive her, but her husband legitimately scares me. It seems to me like he's been able to brainwash her, and I just don't want to be in the middle of it. But now I have a new bestie, and all is good. Bye. I told my best friend that her fiance was cheating on her and she did not believe me. Disclaimer, this is my story. When I was 20 years old, I moved to LA. I was trying to make friends as quickly as possible. Good friends, not backstabbers. At my new job, I met this girl and she was kind of similar to me, but she was the type of person that trusted everybody. Right away, she started trusting me. She was just really kind. Started hanging out outside of work. And it was really nice because she liked to cook and so did I. She would come over to my place and we would make some food and just watch movies. After a couple of weeks, I met her fiance and I hated him right away. All he did was stare at me. What do you do when you meet your bestie's fiance and all he does is stare at you? It's disgusting. At first I thought he was kind of joking, but then I realized he was being super serious. He was trying to make cute eyes at me. So after that, I would never look him straight in the eye. I knew that's what he wanted, so I just wouldn't do it. That's when I started being really vigilant. I started noticing every single little red flag about him. One day, my bestie invites me over to a barbecue at her place, and after a couple of hours, I wanted to leave. Everyone at this point had had so many drinks. I was the only person that was sober. I go into her bedroom and I find her with her sister. Part 2 is up. I told my best friend that her fiance was cheating on her and she did not believe me. Disclaimer, this is my story time. I walk into their bedroom and I see her fiance with my best friend's sister. What I actually saw was just him kissing her neck. But why is your fiance kissing your sister's neck? And as soon as they saw me, they freaked. They jumped up really quick. He ran out of the bedroom and then he just stared at me like he always does, just staring. I ran to my bestie and I told her everything. By the way, everyone at this point had had so many drinks. I was actually the only sober person at this party. What happened next was a nightmare. My bestie turns to me and tells me to leave the party. She told me that I was just jealous of her relationship, that I was projecting on her. She throws my purse at me and I leave. I cried so much, I was mortified. She was so desperate to make her relationship work. Okay, by the way, her sister actually lived with them at the time. This girl had no money and no job. My best friend supported her in every single way possible. Her and I obviously didn't speak after that until 6 months later. She calls me on the phone in tears. Then she tells me she finds out her sister is pregnant. Her fiance is leaving her for her sister, and they are kicking her out of her apartment, the one she paid half for. I remember this because he actually followed me on Instagram 2 days ago. Should I be petty? Self-care sister out.